Hello, everyone, and welcome to Just Speak English Podcast. I'm Corey, and it's so great to have you with us today for another conversation. You know, we talk about so many things on this show: careers, habits, personal growth, but today we're going back to the very beginning, to the foundation of it all. We're talking about family.
It really is the foundation, isn't it? Everything starts there.
It absolutely does. And to help us navigate this huge topic, I'm thrilled to welcome our guest today, Liam. Liam is a family therapist and the author of the wonderful book, Connected. Liam, thank you so much for being here.
The pleasure is all mine, Corey. Thanks for having me. I love talking about this. It's not just my job, it's my passion.
I can tell. So let's just dive right in. The word family can mean so many different things to different people. For our listeners tuning in, who we hope feel like part of our little podcast family here, and if you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chat. What does that word family truly mean in today's world?
That's the perfect place to start, and it's a bigger question than ever before.
Bigger how? It feels like it should be simple, right? Mom, dad, kids, but it's not.
Exactly. That traditional idea of the nuclear family is just one piece of a much larger puzzle now. For me, and in my practice, family isn't strictly defined by blood or marriage anymore.
Oh, that's interesting. So what defines it?
It's defined by connection, by support, by love. It's the people you choose to build your life with, the people who show up for you when things are tough.
The people who show up. I love that. It reminds me of the phrase chosen family. I have friends who I consider more family than some of my actual relatives.
And that's a completely valid and beautiful form of family. We all need a home base, a group of people where we feel safe, seen, and accepted for who we are. For some, that's the family they were born into. For others, it's a family they create.
So is the biological family unit less important now then?
Not at all. Not less important, just different. The structure has evolved. We see single-parent families, blended families, same-sex parent families, families with adopted children, and of course, these strong chosen families. The structure can change, but the need for it remains the same.
What is that fundamental need? You said a home base. Can you expand on that?
It's the concept of a secure base. Think of a young child learning to walk. They take a few steps, they wobble, maybe they fall. And what do?
They look back for their parent to make sure they're still there.
Precisely. They look for that secure base. As adults, we do the same thing. We go out into the world, we take risks, we try new things, we fail. Our family, whether biological or chosen, is that secure base we look back to. They're the ones who say, "It's okay, we're still here. We still love you. Try again."
Wow, I've never thought of it that way. It's like an emotional charging station.
That's a great way to put it. An emotional charging station. You go there to recharge so you have the energy and confidence to go out and face the world again. A strong family unit, whatever its shape, provides that.
It seems so critical for kids, obviously, but you're saying it's just as important for adults?
Absolutely. Maybe even more so in some ways. The world can be a lonely place. Knowing you have a tribe, a unit, a family that has your back, it's a powerful defense against stress, anxiety, and depression. It gives life meaning.
So when we talk about a family unit, we're not just talking about who lives in your house.
Not at all. We're talking about who lives in your heart. Who do you call first with good news? Who do you call when you're crying on the side of the road with a flat tire?
Right. It's about function, not form. It's what the family does for you, not what it looks like.
You've got it. It's about providing that sense of belonging. Humans are social creatures. We are hardwired to belong to a group. And family, in its broadest, most beautiful sense, is the ultimate group. It's our first community.
That first community often includes some very interesting characters. Let's talk about siblings.
Yes, the longest relationship most of us will ever have in our lives.
Longer than with parents, longer than with a spouse. That's a powerful thought. Do you have siblings, Liam?
I do. I have an older sister. And let me tell you, we were classic rivals growing up. We fought over everything: the TV remote, the last cookie, who got to sit in the front seat of the car.
Oh, the front seat. That was a major source of conflict in my house. I have a younger brother, and I always used the "I'm older, I get it."
Of course, the classic older sibling move. My sister was the responsible one, the mini-mom, and I was the annoying little brother. That was my official role.
It's funny how we fall into these roles, isn't it? The responsible one, the funny one, the rebel, the baby of the family. From your therapist's perspective, how much do those childhood labels actually stick with us into adulthood?
Oh, immensely. It's one of the most common things I see in my practice. People in their 40s and 50s still acting out those childhood roles whenever they get together with their siblings.
So the 50-year-old CEO still feels like the irresponsible younger brother around his older sister?
All the time. It's like a time machine. You walk into your childhood home for a holiday, and suddenly you're 12 years old again, fighting for your parents' attention. These dynamics are deeply ingrained.
Why does that happen?
Because that's where our identity was first formed. Our siblings are our first social laboratory. We learn how to negotiate, how to share, how to fight, how to make up. They are our first allies and our first rivals. The patterns we establish with them often become the blueprint for our relationships later in life.
That's a little scary. So if you had a difficult relationship with a sibling, you're doomed?
No, not at all. That's the good news. The first step is awareness. Recognizing, oh wow, every time my sister calls, I feel like I have to prove how successful I am.
Once you see the pattern, you can choose to step out of it. How do you do that without causing a huge fight?
You change your own behavior. You can't change your sibling, but you can change your reaction to them. So instead of competing, you can try connecting. Ask them about their life. Share something you're struggling with. Be vulnerable. It can completely shift the dynamic.
It sounds like it requires a lot of conscious effort.
It does, but it's worth it, because on the other side of that rivalry is an incredible source of support. No one on earth understands your history like a sibling does. They were there. They know your parents, your childhood, your inside jokes. That shared history is priceless.
You mentioned a funny rivalry story earlier. Can you share one? What was the silliest thing you and your sister fought over?
Oh man, there were so many. I think the most ridiculous was a battle over a single cassette tape. It was the soundtrack to a popular movie at the time. We both wanted to listen to it, but we only had one Walkman.
Oh no, the classic 90s problem.
It was a crisis. We created this elaborate time-sharing schedule. I got it on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. She got it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The weekends were supposed to be negotiated. One Saturday, I borrowed it during her time.
You stole the tape.
I did. She found out and she hid the batteries for the Walkman. So I had the tape, she had the power. It was a complete stalemate. We didn't speak for 2 days.
All for a cassette tape.
All for a cassette tape. Looking back, it's hilarious. But at the moment, it felt like the most important battle in the world. And that's sibling dynamics in a nutshell. The small things feel huge, but hopefully, with time, you can look back and laugh about it together.
That story is great, and it leads perfectly into our next topic. Whether it's a stalemate over a cassette tape or a serious disagreement about life choices, it all seems to come down to one thing: communication.
100%. Communication is the lifeblood of a family. When it's flowing well, the family is healthy. When it's blocked or toxic, the family gets sick.
So, what's the biggest communication mistake you see families make over and over again?
That's an easy one: making assumptions. We think we know what our partner, our child, or our sibling is thinking or feeling, so we don't bother to ask. We just react to the story we've created in our own head.
He's quiet, so he must be mad at me. Or she didn't call, so she must not care.
Exactly those things. We project our own fears and insecurities onto them. The second biggest mistake is a direct result of the first: not actually listening.
What do you mean by not actually listening? We all hear the words people are saying.
Hearing is a physical process. Listening is a mental and emotional one. Most of the time, in a disagreement, we're not listening to understand. We're listening to find a flaw in their argument so we can prepare our response. We're just waiting for our turn to talk.
I am definitely guilty of that. So, what does true, active listening look like in a family setting?
It looks like putting your own agenda aside for a moment. It means giving the other person your full attention. No phone, no TV. You make eye contact, you nod, you say things like, or tell me more.
So, you're showing them you're engaged.
Yes, but it's more than that. It's also about reflecting what you heard to make sure you understood it correctly. Something as simple as, so what I'm hearing you say is that you feel overwhelmed with all the chores. Is that right?
Ah, so it confirms you're on the same page and it shows them you care enough to get it right.
You nailed it. It de-escalates conflict almost instantly because the other person feels seen and heard. Their defenses come down. Suddenly, you're not opponents anymore. You're a team trying to solve a problem together.
That's a huge shift. Are there any other practical tools families can use? I've heard about I statements.
I statements are fantastic. They are the antidote to blaming. Instead of saying, you never help around the house, which is an attack,
And immediately makes the other person defensive.
immediately, you rephrase it from your perspective. I feel overwhelmed and tired when I see the dishes piled up in the sink. See the difference?
Yeah, one is an accusation, the other is a statement of your own feelings. You can't really argue with someone's feelings.
Exactly. You're taking responsibility for your own emotions instead of blaming them on someone else. It opens the door for a conversation, not a fight.
Do you have one more tip? Maybe something a bit unexpected that families can try?
An unexpected one. Okay. I often recommend that families schedule a weekly check-in. It sounds very corporate and unfamily-like, I know.
It does a little. Like a team meeting?
It is a team meeting. Your family is the most important team you'll ever be on. Just 15 to 20 minutes every Sunday night. Everyone gets to share one good thing that happened that week and one thing they're finding challenging.
What does that do?
It creates a dedicated space for communication. It prevents problems from building up over time until they explode. It also normalizes talking about challenges. It teaches kids and adults that it's okay not to be okay, and that the family is a safe place to talk about it. It might feel awkward at first, but it can be a total game changer for family connection.
I love that idea of a scheduled check in because even with the best communication skills, as you said, problems will come up. Conflict is just inevitable in a family.
It's not only inevitable, it's necessary. A family with no conflict is not a healthy family.
Wait, really? That sounds counterintuitive.
Think about it. If there's no conflict, it means people aren't being honest. They are suppressing their true feelings and needs to keep the peace. That's not connection, that's avoidance. The goal isn't to avoid conflict. The goal is to learn how to repair things after a conflict.
The repair, that's the key. So, what does a healthy repair look like versus an unhealthy one?
An unhealthy repair often involves sweeping things under the rug, pretending it never happened. This leads to resentment, which is like a poison for relationships. A healthy repair involves acknowledging the hurt. It involves a genuine apology.
And what makes an apology genuine? I'm sorry you feel that way doesn't count, right?
That is the classic non-apology. A genuine apology has two parts. One, taking responsibility for your actions. I'm sorry I yelled. Not, I'm sorry, but you made me mad. Two, showing you understand their feelings. I imagine that must have been really hurtful for you.
No buts.
No buts. The word but erases everything that came before it. And then the final step in a good repair is asking, what can I do to make it right?
That puts the power back in the hands of the person who was hurt. It shows you're committed to fixing it.
It shows you value the relationship more than your own ego. And that's true for small conflicts, but it's especially critical when families face big changes.
Like what kind of changes?
A new baby, a job loss, moving to a new city, a serious illness, kids leaving for college. These are major earthquakes that shake the family's foundation.
How can families get through those earthquakes without cracking?
The number one thing is to over-communicate. Talk about the change constantly. Talk about how everyone is feeling, the excitement, the fear, the sadness. Acknowledge that it's hard. Don't pretend everything is perfect.
So name the elephant in the room.
Absolutely. And try to maintain some family rituals. Even if you've moved across the country, you can still have Friday pizza and movie night. Rituals are anchors. They create a sense of stability and normalcy when everything else feels chaotic.
Can you share a story, maybe an anonymous one from your practice, about a family that navigated a big change successfully?
Of course. I worked with a family once where the father lost a job he'd had for 20 years. It was a huge blow to his identity and to the family's financial security. At first, he tried to be strong and silent. He didn't want to worry anyone.
A very common reaction.
Very. But his silence was creating a lot of fear and anxiety. The kids knew something was wrong, and his wife felt shut out. During a session, she finally said, using an I statement, "I feel so scared and alone when you don't talk to me about this. I want to be your partner in this."
That must have been a powerful moment.
It was a breakthrough. He broke down and admitted how terrified he was. And in that moment, the whole family came together. The kids offered to cut back on their allowances, his wife helped him work on his resume, they started having daily job hunt updates. By facing the crisis as a team, they actually became closer than they were before. They turned a potential disaster into a moment of incredible connection.
Wow, that just shows that it's not the absence of problems, but how you face them together that defines a family's strength. And that includes forgiving each other and yourself when you don't handle things perfectly.
Forgiveness is the final essential piece. We will mess up. We will hurt the people we love the most. The ability to sincerely say, "I'm sorry," and the ability to truly say, "I forgive you," is what allows a family to endure and to grow year after year.
Liam, this has been such an enlightening conversation. I feel like I've just had a free therapy session for my own family dynamics.
Well, my door is always open. But honestly, Corey, it's been a real joy. These conversations are so important.
They truly are. We've covered so much today. The idea that family is defined by connection, not just blood. The powerful and lifelong influence of our sibling relationships. The absolute necessity of active listening and using I statements. And finally, that conflict and change aren't things to be feared, but opportunities to grow closer if we handle them as a team.
That's a perfect summary. You are actively listening.
I try to practice what we preach. Thank you again so much for your time and your wisdom. If our listeners want to learn more from you or read your book, where can they find you?
The best place is my website, which is just liamrogerstherapy.com, and my book, Connected, is available anywhere books are sold.
Fantastic. We will link to that in our show notes. Liam Rogers, everyone, thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
And a big thank you to all of you for tuning in to Just Speak English podcast. It means the world to us that you choose to spend your time here. As we wrap up, we have a question for you. Thinking about your own family, whether it's the one you were born into or the one you've built, what's one special memory that always makes you smile? We'd love to hear it. You can always connect with us on our social channels. That's all for today. Take care of yourselves and your families. We'll talk to you next week.